What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ink Drink Think, episode 12. Tonight, if you saw part 1, you know we're going a little bit unorthodox. We're not really focusing on a topic like we did with the Batman or the Superman episodes. Tonight, Nate and I are going to be getting into some personal and professional work that we're doing, respectively. But as you can see, we have a special guest tonight. We're going to get into that in 1 second. As always, guys, I am your host, Michael Pickard, joined by my wonderfully talented, loyal friend and co-host, screw you, Todd and Johnny, Nate Wells. Nate, you have the floor.
Hey guys, love you, Todd and Johnny. You guys are the best, even though you're not here. It's fine. It's fine.
That's all right. The show must go on.
Yeah, without you. Tonight I'm doing a leeward drawing from the Scott Snyder and Sean Gordon Murphy book, The Wake. I don't think I've ever drawn her before. I'm an enormous fan of that book. Sean Murphy is one of my favorite artists, one of my bigger influences. I got through most of the drawing, I think, in part 1. And for this part, it's going to be the fixing of everything that I did in part 1. So I'm breaking out. It's going to be the mostly whiteout episode for me. But I'm pretty happy with it overall. If I had to show anybody right now, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But I think we can get it to a better place. Tonight, I'm drinking, as I was in part 1, the Hoppenheimer IPA from Manhattan Brewing. Again, I believe in Dallas. I could be very wrong. If you're in Austin or Houston, I apologize. It's a Texas beer. But yeah, that's what we're sipping on tonight.
Awesome, man. Well, I've seen your work in part 1, so I'm quite excited to see what revisions you make in part 2 and how the finished piece comes out.
Thank you.
As a whole,
it's gonna be completely different. Just whiting out the whole thing, starting over,
starting from fresh.
Yeah.
Like I said, guys, I'm Michael Pickard. Tonight, I'm going to be finishing up the pencils for the issue 2 cover for Ultramax, which is my graphic novel I've been working on with Doug Wood. The issue has a fight scene in it featuring the main character, Travis, and a superhero who's also in the prison, whose name is Bug Eye. Don't want to go too much into it because I don't want to spoil things, but he's a bit of a Hank Pym, Peter Parker type, tech hero, bug themed. And so there's a lot of graphic elements that I'm incorporating into it from the first cover into this second cover that I hope to include in all of the subsequent 4-issue covers. So we'll get into that in 1 minute. But as you already know, we have a special guest tonight, and that is none other than the man you heard singing at the beginning and ends of all of our episodes so far, the orbiting moon himself, Danny Walsh.
Yes, that is me. Hello. Like Mike said, I'm Danny Walsh. I am the lead singer and lead guitarist for a band called Destroy the Moon, and also the lead guitarist for a band called Moonroof. Outside of that, just kind of a nerdy dude, lover of all things video games and music and all that good stuff. Drinking some Bud Light, because it's all I had in my fridge. And then after that, I'm going to be drinking some of this because I have come down with a sniffle. So.
Ooh, no.
Oh, no.
Yeah. No, it's been like 3 days. And I'm like, you know what? I already got tested today. I already took a test. So we'll know within 3 days. But I'm like, you know what? Course I got sick. Like
it's that time of year anyway. Like there have been a couple days where I've had like a runny nose or like I've coughed or something and I've been like,
yeah,
oh my gosh, is it? And then like, you know,
like I have not coughed, I have not had a sore throat, and I've been really congested, and I'm like, well, this is it, I got it.
yeah. My allergies got bad, earlier, and I was like, this. Oh yeah, same thing. I was like, this is it. Shit. Yeah, I got it. Uh-oh. Yeah, Mike, it sucks that you're in the other corner of the room from Danny because you're probably gonna get COVID if he's got it.
Yeah, of course. So for everybody watching who doesn't know, Danny and I live in the same town. Even though we met in college, we went to rival high schools, and he lives right around the corner from me. And as Nate likes to point out, it's probably right around the corner, as in the next room
It's
over.
the same room. It's the
Yeah.
same room, I think.
Half the room is painted yellowish tan. The other half is this grayish color I'm in right now.
I'm seeing different colors, but I know that it's maybe a bigger room. You guys are in the same room.
Yeah.
We knocked
just
down
are.
the wall that separates the two rooms, to my left and all the way at the other corner. So
Yeah.
No, there's gonna be a whole subreddit conspiracy theory on Mike and Danny, same room. r/Mike and Danny are in the same room.
Do we even have a big
Yeah.
enough following for a subreddit at this point?
It only takes one guy. It only
That's
takes one
you?
guy.
That's you.
Yo, guys, I found this really crazy subreddit called r/Mike and Danny are in the same room recording an episode.
Have you guys checked out r/Ink Drink Think? It's pretty crazy. Like, there's some guy spouting like really weird thoughts on there. You know.
It's gonna go. Yeah. BuzzFeed Unsolved is gonna do a whole episode about you two being in the exact same room because that's a fact.
Listen, I didn't like the thing that guy posted about Mike wearing a toupee. I thought that conspiracy was unfounded, and I don't respect it.
Sorry about
Posted by
that.
Michael Pickard.
Yeah, posted by username M Pickard.
At least you're not using the Ink Drink Think page to get sugar daddies like Johnny. So
Oh yeah, so viewers of
you
the
got
show,
that going for
here's a
you.
fun tangent for you guys. Check out the comments of our Ink Drink Think Instagram, as Nate pointed out, because we get some fun comments, usually from people who are saying, "Oh, check out my page for entrepreneurial advice." But Johnny got hit up recently for a very interesting one, particularly for somebody who wants to be someone's sugar daddy.
fun proposal.
Fun proposal. Johnny might be into it. I don't know.
It's a
I'm not going to
business
speak for him. It's a business endeavor. He's a
we don't
businessman.
know what
I'm
he
a
said.
businessman.
Yeah.
Who knows what happens in Johnny's DMs? But here, I'll flip around the camera real quick to showcase
That's why
what's
it's
going
not
on.
here this week.
Yeah, Johnny's
sugar daddy.
preoccupied, if you will.
He's with his sugar daddy.
But here, we'll start off the episode with a bit of a fun pop culture topic. But of course, we're all nerds here. We love superheroes. We love film. We love Ben Affleck. Well, at least I do. What are your thoughts on the upcoming Snyder Cut and the DCEU as a whole? And as a second part to that question, what did you like? What didn't you like? And what would you have done differently had you had the opportunity to grab it by the reins and go, no, stop, turn around. It still could be saved.
Oh God. So I'm very excited for the Snyder Cut. I want to see where his original idea was and where it was going to go. So I'm very excited for that. As for the DCEU as a whole, I just throw it all out, man. Like it just man,
Yeah.
it was very underwhelming. With the exception of Aquaman, I actually enjoyed Aquaman for what it was, but other than that, man, I was thoroughly underwhelmed for most of the titles that were released under that name. But
I'm also excited for the Snyder Cut. It cannot be any worse than the theatrical cut of Justice League. It can't. That was a movie that that was a movie that I recently watched in preparation kind of for our Star Wars episode. A couple Star Wars docs. One was like The People versus George Lucas, I think is what it's called. And it was about how everyone hated the Phantom Menace. And people would see it multiple times trying to convince themselves that it was good. That was me with Justice League. I saw it several times, maybe just like 3 times in the theaters.
mm-hmm.
And I remember the first time watching it, I was disappointed and I was underwhelmed. But I came home, like I saw it with my family the first time, like my immediate family, and I was like, yeah, that was good. It was fun. It was like an episode of Super Friends. And I said that like it was a positive thing. That's not what I wanted that movie to be. And then I saw it a couple more times and I was like, this movie sucks. This movie is absolute dog shit. And so the Snyder Cut cannot be worse than that because the movie already is a disappointment. Even if the Snyder Cut is a massive letdown, I don't think it'll be more of a letdown or more disappointing than the theatrical release. As for the DC EU generally, I really enjoy Man of Steel, the first film in the franchise. I'm a Superman guy, as the listeners will know. And I enjoy Man of Steel. It's not my favorite Superman movie, but there's a lot happening there that I really like, namely Henry Cavill as Superman. I think you need to give him more to do. He's the most charismatic guy out there. But there's a lot happening. So I would say if I had some kind of sway over that film franchise, more Superman movies, because Batman v Superman is a sequel to Man of Steel, and Superman is kind of in it almost, but that's a Batman movie.
Yeah.
So more Superman, please, Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I don't know if Henry Cavill will ever come back for the role other than for this Snyder Cut reshoots, because yeah, I feel like he's found success in so many other fields, whether it's even Man from U.N.C.L.E., which was pretty critically popular for him, but particularly The Witcher has been a huge success for him in that
The
nerd
Witcher's
fandom
good.
culture.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about that in between episodes when we were on our little break, and I was thinking about, for some reason I was just thinking about like what I had been watching recently, and I had just rewatched The Witcher again for like the third time because I'm absolutely in love with that series. But yeah,
I just started it. It's really good. I'm like 2 or 3 episodes in. Yeah, it's really good.
It's it's slow to get started. That was one of the things. Like not like the first episode like immediately, because that's when he's fucking like getting drowned by that whatever in the swamp. But like the series kind of takes a second to get its legs underneath it, and then once it does, oh my god, the storytelling in that show is just incredible.
Which is crazy because it's a video game franchise, and those are notoriously bad. But it seems like they kind of figured it out with that one.
I mean, I think they really messed up with making it a video game series instead of a TV show first, like adapting it from the books. But I think what they did, or I forget what her name was, who I can't remember if she directed or if she produced that show. I forget her name. But I think she had like a really great vision for what she wanted. And it just worked so much better as a show, outside of being a very okay video game franchise.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the video game franchise. I've never played a Witcher game. I'm enjoying the show though. Like I said, I think 3 episodes in. And it's good. Yeah, it's good. It's one that I kind of missed when it first came out, but I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I think I saw it twice. I think I watched it once with my brother and then once with Alyssa. But yeah, it's a fun show. I don't think it's perfect. There are definitely an episode here or two that I'm not a huge fan of, but I think as a whole, it's a really fun fantasy show, which is something I thought we were lacking, admittedly, after the lackluster conclusion of another Warner Brothers property, Game of Thrones.
I still haven't seen the last season.
Don't bother, my friend.
Don't bother. I kind of don't know if I will now. Like, I'll definitely watch it, but the reason I haven't yet is because everyone's like, don't. And I will one day, but right now I still enjoy Game of Thrones, and I kind of want to hold on to that for as long as I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hard. I was showing Alyssa Game of Thrones. We were trying to get her caught up for the finale, and we didn't. We got up through Tyrion's court case and the fight with the Mountain and the Viper as the finale was being aired, and I watched the finale, and I told her we're gonna stop after the Tyrion trial because I don't think it's worth watching after that point.
Yeah.
And so we just dropped the show. But
Wow, man. That's incredible. Like, you have this insane property that everyone loves, and then you just go in on its last season and you make it so underwhelming and so bad that people just don't want anything to do with the show.
yeah,
After it's insane.
Are they still doing like prequels or sequels to that, or did they cancel all of those?
I think they all got canceled
Oh man,
because there was one
that's
with Nicole
wild.
Kidman, I believe.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Was
one was
there? Wow.
the pilot was shot for, but I think the pilot had very poor reception from producers.
Oh, they like did it.
Yeah, like a year or two ago now, admittedly.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was a good show. Like I said, I haven't seen the last season. Maybe I'll love it. But it is unfortunate to hear at least that it fizzled out.
Yeah, it definitely did not go out with a bang. It kind of went out with a flea fart.
Yeah.
Well, and that's
Sadly enough,
something
like,
that I've respected so much about HBO shows, as well as like I don't know if you guys watch like FX shows. FX shows do the same thing. They know kind of when to end, and it's usually 5 or 6 seasons in. They plan an ending, and it's usually really good. I'm a big fan of like Sons of Anarchy, Justified, HBO shows like The Wire. I think The Wire is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't need it to go on any longer than it did. But yeah, Game of Thrones kind of, they extended it into, what was it, eight seasons?
8 seasons, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot longer than I think they typically do, and maybe I don't know, maybe they didn't know what to do with that long running of a show.
Well, I think it was just because, like, they didn't have an ending because, what's his name? No, who wrote those?
George R. R. Martin.
Yeah, George R. R. Martin.
Didn't like write the end of the book series, so they had no idea where to go, so it was just all up to the writers. And they were like, "Oh, all right, well, we'll try our best to kind of replicate his vision," and it was just awful. It was just terrible.
Yeah, I with the DC movies, I am excited for the Snyder cut, if only because to use the phrase Danny used, a flea fart, which I'm gonna use all the time now. Like, that's so underwhelming to me that the first theatrical showing of the Justice League as a property was the Joss Whedon version of that film.
Yeah.
Which I'm not a big fan of Joss Whedon's Avengers movies, admittedly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he was the right choice, period. But yeah, this is the Justice League. This is the greatest superhero team of all time. And
I think regardless of maybe critical reaction or even audience reaction to what Zack Snyder was doing with the world, at the time BVS was released, a lot of Justice League was already shot and done. You've got to finish that movie. It's super hard to course correct halfway through doing something. You're kind of committed to it at that point, and trying to course correct. And of course, there's like the family tragedy that Zack Snyder faced during that is why he couldn't finish the movie, and they brought Joss Whedon in. But I mean, you couldn't bring in a more opposite director to finish a Zack Snyder movie than Joss Whedon.
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Like,
that's super telling that he's the guy that they went to.
I mean, it's very much when you think about it like that, where it's like, okay, Zack Snyder can't go on with this, obviously, because of the family I was gonna say family problems, family tragedy that he experienced. Yeah, let's bring in the dude who did Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like,
Right, and
like that, it doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah. Zack Snyder's such a specific director. I don't know anybody offhand that would have been better, maybe, but I mean, it just seems like Joss Whedon is the opposite guy, which is clearly, I think, what they wanted to do because BVS was not received well. But I mean, that's due to a litany of issues, not just his direction. And BVS is a film that I don't love, but I don't hate. I certainly like it better than Justice League. Well, I like it a lot more than Justice League. Because Justice League is just... it's funny. I had a dream before Batman v Superman came out that I went to go see it in theaters and it was really disappointing. And it was disappointing because I remember in my dream, the visual effects they looked unfinished and the movie looked like it was an afterthought. And I went to go see BVS and I was like, yeah, that movie was whatever it was. I was disappointed, but I did enjoy it and I had thoughts on it, but I knew it was a movie that they meant to make. But a few years later, flash forward, I went to go see Justice League and I was like, oh, this was that dream that I had. The visual effects are unfinished. The movie seems like an afterthought. It was made in editing and it's a nightmare. I was like, that's wild that I had a dream. I was just, 2 years too early or a year too early, however long it was.
Yeah.
Because that's the problem with Justice League is it's not a real movie. It's just a thing that they made.
It was just an idea that kind of felt like it was thrown together in like After Effects.
And
Yes.
And
also
I know
the
that.
reshoots are very jarring in that film.
Oh yeah.
Like even in the scene where Bruce Wayne meets Barry Allen, there's very clear reshoots because Ezra Miller's hair is completely different.
Yeah.
It's very jarring.
Yeah, that as much as I hate to bash that movie because I wanted to like it so bad the first time I saw it.
Oh yeah.
And I couldn't do it. But there was one movie that I have no problem with bashing because of just how much of a train wreck that this movie was. Suicide Squad. Since we're talking about the DCEU.
See, Suicide Squad I think is a better movie than Justice League.
Really?
I do.
That's a hard take.
Do.
That's a hard take.
Yeah, I do. It's an awful movie. It's a bad movie.
It's a very bad movie.
I own it on Blu-ray though, and I do not own Justice League on Blu-ray. Not that there's a high bar for movies that I own on Blu-ray. I own some really garbage movies.
See, that's interesting, Nate. I would have pegged Johnny for somebody to own both those movies on Blu-ray. Not you though. Someone with such great taste as yourself, I wouldn't expect that for, but Johnny.
Someone with
no, I know, yeah, someone with terrible taste like Johnny, I can see it. No, I don't remember if I bought it or if it was a gift, but I do own Suicide Squad. There's some things that I actually like about Suicide Squad, and I don't like anything about Justice League. Yeah, no, actually, I think I got into this a little bit on our Joker episode that unfortunately didn't get to air. Hopefully we'll get to salvage it, though. I really like the Jared Leto Joker. He's in it for 5 minutes, so that sucks. He's actually in, I think, at least as much or more footage for the Purple Lamborghini music video as he is in the actual movie. But I really like the Jared Leto Joker. Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn. She's great. And Justice League just has nothing. And that's a movie that the plot even hinges on Superman being cool. And I hate it so much. And I don't like Suicide Squad. I'm not defending Suicide Squad. That is a garbage film as well. But I think it's better than Justice League.
Right.
Yeah,
they're both god awful though.
Yeah, like when I look at Suicide Squad and I look at Justice League and I'm like, okay, well, actually, not even Justice League. I just look at Suicide Squad and I think when my favorite part of a Suicide Squad movie was Captain Boomerang, there was something wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
See, I don't even think that's the problem because, like, I think Captain Boomerang or, like, any of the characters in that movie, I think the characters actually work really well. Like, I think on paper, Will Smith as Deadshot is a great choice. I think
Agreed.
Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn is, of course, excellent. We've seen her in her own films as well.
And I really enjoyed the Birds of Prey Harley Quinn, whatever the hell they actually decided to name that movie. I enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It wasn't great, but it was okay. It was good. It was passable. It was good. You can watch that movie and enjoy it, no question.
Exactly. It's a passable movie at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, like
Whereas-
I think the most disappointing movie of the entire DC pantheon might be Suicide Squad, because if you look at it from an outside perspective of, okay, we're Warner Brothers and we own DC Comics, which by all means should be the biggest superhero company on the planet. Just historically speaking, just everything considered, DC has almost always been the bigger company, or the bigger, better known company.
Yeah.
You have to catch up to Marvel and Disney, who are the highest grossing films on the planet. How do you build a well fleshed out universe with all of these characters that you have? Okay, so we have each of the heroes getting their own movie. Why don't we make it seem like the heroes have been doing this for a while? Why don't we make a movie that gives exposition to the universe a little bit? So we'll give a Flash villain in there, a couple Batman villains, because Batman's been operating for a while. Maybe a Superman, or like a, maybe a Green Arrow villain or something. Mm-hmm. On paper, the Suicide Squad film is genius marketing. It was, even if none of those characters ever showed up again, even if there wasn't a Suicide Squad sequel, even if they killed them all off, to act as like a boosting agent to these other movies they were producing, it was brilliant. And to get David Ayer right off of Fury and End of Watch, and to get Will Smith,
David
and
Ayer's
Robbie,
my guy.
Like everything on
Fury,
paper should have been.
Fury's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
I'm gonna disagree though. I mean, the most disappointing movie has to be Justice League. I think if you've got a film franchise that's centered on the DC universe and the Suicide Squad movie doesn't work, some people are going to be disappointed. Some people might not be surprised. If you've got a film called Justice League that works as well, or I would argue worse than the Suicide Squad, that's got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash in it, Aquaman, that is the biggest letdown in superhero cinema, you know? Because you've got Batman movies that work. You've got Superman movies that work. Mm-hmm. Wonder Woman was a successful TV series. Flash was a character that people know of. You know?
Don't you dare diss my boy, the Flash.
Also exists.
Flash was, well, okay, so at the time, Flash was a successful TV series on the CW. It's a good show. Yep. You know, Aquaman's a meme. It should work.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad with Captain Boomerang and I don't even remember who was in that movie.
It was what was the
Diablo?
guy?
Who gives a shit?
Diablo.
You know, that movie is allowed to fail. I think.
Yeah.
Justice League is not allowed to fail.
Sure. What was the character in Suicide Squad that they just used to kill off?
Slipknot.
Yeah, rope man or whatever. Slipknot. Yeah. Yeah, he just exploded immediately, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, just as soon as they got off the helicopter, just his head was exploded, like quite literally.
Yeah, I love that they had a character that was like, "Fuck this," and blew him up.
They were like, which
is kind of a rational response, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they just kind of used him as like an example. And that was as soon as I saw that, I knew the movie was going to be incredibly stupid. Like, but
Yeah. Yeah, man, I was excited to see that movie too. I went with my friend
I was so
yeah.
happy they were making it because it was one of my favorite firstly, like one of my favorite titles. I used to love the Suicide Squad titles, and also the the um the animated movie that they made a few years back.
Yes.
Assault on
It was
Arkham.
really good.
Was fucking
Yes.
great.
It was good. Yeah.
And actually, after my friends and I went and saw Suicide Squad, we all came back to my house, and I was like, "Do you guys want to watch Assault on Arkham? It was a better Suicide Squad movie." And they were like, "Yeah."
And it was. It was. Yeah, I went to the premiere of that movie in Lubbock where I went to college at the time with my friend Casey. If you're watching this, Casey, love you to death. Colored my hair green. I had like an undercut at the time, so it was like, yeah, I'll color my little undercut haircut green and go watch this movie. It's gonna be really good. Jared Leto's a great actor.
Mhm.
He's gonna have a huge role in this movie as the Joker. And boy, did I feel silly walking out of that screening with green hair.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
That
was not the movie to cosplay for.
No, man. And yeah, I'm embarrassed about that to this day.
But hey, you know what? You saw the movie. That's all you can really say about it.
Yeah, you sat for 2 hours while images were presented to you.
The credits started rolling and I was like, oh, it's over. That was it, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
Jeez.
All right.
Yeah.
I was just waiting for the good part to happen, but
so we're kind of waiting for the movie to pick up. But no, like I was gonna ask. From all the talk that we've just had, I can take it that Justice League is probably like your guys' favorite, like team up kind of thing with different heroes and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, personally, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Well, for me, I think it's a matter of like reference, if that makes sense. So like, if you're talking comics, Spider-Man has been an Avenger, but he's not really a main Avenger. Like he's not the one selling the titles. So like if we're talking from the film perspective, there's a team up movie with Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, and the Hulk. Growing up, I'd heard of all those characters, and Black Widow and Hawkeye. Cannot forget the normal people.
Of course. Yes, us normies.
Yes, represent. But those characters, while I was aware of them, and like I really liked the Hulk when I was a kid, and I really liked Captain America, they don't mean anything to me, especially in the comic book sense that we're talking about. Like I've read a bunch of their comics at this point, having been a fan of the movies, and I'm still a bigger fan of the DC pantheon of characters. And so like on principle, like the team up of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman alone, just the Trinity, I am on board for, whether it's a video game, a movie, a comic book, a TV show. I'm just sold because it's those characters.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. It could be the nostalgic value. It could be the fact that, like for me, perhaps, with the Avengers, like I think it's the benefit and the curse of the MCU that they cast everybody so perfectly that in my mind, like comic book Iron Man is not Iron Man. Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. is.
Yeah.
Same thing with Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner. Like when you see Bruce Banner in the comics, who's very like spindly and thin, like I don't think of that. Like when I think Bruce Banner, I think of Mark Ruffalo, which is to their benefit, like incredible casting, just like spot on, but to their detriment. Like, I don't have much interest in pursuing Marvel Comics. Please hire me still. From a reader standpoint, because I'm so invested in this version of the character. you know.
Yeah. And it's and to their like to that point, like even the lesser heroes in those movies, like I can only like even in um the Ant-Man comics with when I'm reading them either Hank Pym or Scott Lang, it doesn't matter. I'm always thinking of Paul Rudd as Scott Lang. It sucks just because I was like I want to have this character, but I have Paul Rudd of all people stuck in my head while I'm reading this.
Yeah, and actually, like, I think it's evident in the Marvel comics currently about how much they've adjusted in their publishing to reflect the films. That these characters, there was a Ant-Man run by Nick Spencer that I really enjoyed a couple years back, and it's more in line with the Ant-Man film than it is with, you know, previous Ant-Man history or mythology.
Sure.
So like on one hand, it's like incredible that they're making the highest selling movies of all time. But if you're making the movies to also sell like the ancillary media, which is crazy to say that comics are now the ancillary medium of superheroes.
Which
Now,
is,
now that movies are the number one, but
yeah.
yeah, like you can see it. Like it's a clear influence of one is now influencing the other.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like a weird, like symbiotic relationship, but now the symbiote, which is the MCU, is now growing so large that it's affecting the host body, which is the comics. You know.
Yeah.
Tying it back to your original question, yeah, it makes me feel more connected to the Justice League because the comic book Justice League is my version of them as opposed to the film.
The film. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. That's awesome.
What about you though? I mean, like I know you're a big Iron Fist fan, but
I'm a big Iron Fist fan. I love the Defenders.
okay.
Big fan of the Defenders, but I don't know if the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles count in this aspect, but they're my favorite.
Really? I didn't know that.
I love the Ninja Turtles. Yeah.
Damn. Okay. All right. I was not expecting that, Danny.
Yeah. Hey man, I'm full of surprises.
Nate, to catch you up real quick, we'll clip this because you were on standby. Can you hear me right now?
Sorry. Yeah.
Danny, we're still talking about the favorite superhero crossovers. Danny just revealed his favorite. If Danny, you want to tell it to Nate.
Yeah. Okay. So, like I said to Mike. He said because he knows I'm a big Iron Fist fan. I said I love the Defenders, but my favorite superhero team is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't know if that counts, but
yeah, I think it does. Yeah.
But
no, yeah, I mean they're they're
up...
superheroes, right? Yeah.
Yeah, in some respect, they're ninjas. So maybe, but no,
and they fight organized crime.
Whether it be a Daredevil knockoff or not. But no, I grew up watching the 2003 cartoon and playing that tie-in video game. It was one of the first video games I actually got when we got our PS2 back in 2002 or something like that. So I have like a really like super rich history with the Ninja Turtles. So I think that's why they're my favorite.
Yeah, movie tie-ins and series tie-ins were the shit, man.
Awesome.
It was so long. It was so long before I played like an actual video game. Actually, Ocarina of Time was the first like actual real video game that I remember playing at least.
Prior property.
That was just a video game. Yeah. Because I was a young kid and I was like, hey, if it's not a movie or a character I'm familiar with, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And that's so stupid, and I had that game. Me and my brother had that game for a long time before we actually gave it a shot. I think we just did it out of boredom, and we were like, "Oh wow, this is incredible."
Oh, this
it's
game
not
kicks ass. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not GoldenEye or it's not whatever movie type. Like there was like a Batman Beyond game that we played. I don't even know.
I think I actually still have that cartridge. I'd hate to get up, but I think I still have that in my N64 collection.
Yeah, we got it for like the PS1,
Mhm.
I think, or maybe the GameCube or something. But yeah, it was all movie tie-ins. That's all
Yeah.
it was.
Well,
And
because that
yeah,
was a really big seller initially, like when they realized they could license out those properties to video game designers and video game studios, and they were like, oh, we can drum up more business for this property through a different medium. I think that's when that really exploded, was like late 90s, early 2000s.
well, yeah, and you just expected like those blockbuster movies to have video game tie-ins, and it's actually kind of weird now that they don't.
Yeah.
To me, at least, I'm like, how is there not an Avengers game based on the movie? And I get it because they're awful, but you know, it's still weird. The 8-year-old me like wants it so bad.
Well, the 8-year-old you, they do have an Avengers tie-in, but it is the Lego Avengers game, which is incredible, if I may say so myself.
I played the first like Lego Star Wars game and I loved it, and I haven't played a Lego game since then, but man, I loved that game. Just like collecting all the little studs or bricks or whatever they call them.
Incredible. It's still one of my
yeah.
Yeah.
It holds up.
Yeah, it's interesting with the video game tie-ins, because I feel like that was the market for our childhoods, was like the tie-in. It was like, whether it was a Nickelodeon cartoon, whether it was a movie, you know, every piece of media had that connected video game to go alongside it. But I wonder what has led to the fall of that. I wonder if people are just not interested in... Oh, actually, you know what I think it is? It's probably the increase of the price of, one, tickets, and then two, the price of video games. And so like when you look at video games nowadays, like the highest selling ones are either like original stories or are or like online.
Yeah, MMOs and that kind of stuff.
Exactly, yeah. And so like when you think about it, like the market for what was like, oh, you like that James Bond movie? Here's the Quantum of Solace Wii tie-in, which I did in fact own and play to death. I did indeed.
You know what? Same thing with the X-Men Origins tie-in.
Yep.
Wolverine. Yeah, that was a horrible game to go with a horrible movie. And
that game actually was one of the better ones, I think. It was the most repetitive game I've ever played, but that Wolverine game was better than the movie, for sure.
Quite possibly.
I think.
I mean, that's not a hard it's not a hard threshold to break, but
it was violent and it was fun, and that movie was just you know, whatever it was. But yeah, the X-Men Origins Wolverine, I guess, is what it was called. It was actually like a pretty good movie tie-in. Not a good video game, but it was a good movie tie-in game.
They stayed truthful to what they were trying to do. I will give them that. I was actually going to ask you guys about a little bit about music, if you didn't mind. I was just wanted to like kind of pick your brain.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. I'm happy to.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Yeah, no, I was just wondering, like, because I know my my favorite genres and all those type of stuff, but I don't really branch into like I guess the radio hits and that kind of stuff, and I wasn't sure if you guys were like big fans of like what's going on now in pop music, or like just generally what your favorite artists do and like your favorite genres and that kind of stuff. I was just kind of curious.
For me, like I don't listen to a lot of like radio hits, admittedly. For me, like of course there's music I like grew up on, which is more like My Chemical Romance was a band that I discovered. Of course, like we probably all did at one point, people of our generation. But But like I grew up on music from like my dad's generation, so like Jim Croce is like the one I always bring up. Of like I love Jim Croce, classic '70s folk singer. But then I also listen to like MF Doom, who's a rapper, or I listen to I used to listen to Five Finger Death Punch for working out.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, just like a huge range of artists and genres. But yeah, like more like popular hits. I'm typically not like up to date with or on trend with. Like I don't really, unless Alyssa shows them to me, because she's so much more in the realm of music than I am.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I consider myself a pretty eclectic listener.
Mm-hmm.
Today alone I listened to some pop, some hip hop. I listened to glam metal, and I listened to some more obscure jazz. So I consider myself pretty eclectic. I don't know what my favorite genre is. I don't know what my favorite artist is. If I had to pick like a favorite genre, it would probably be rock, because it's such a broad term.
Yeah.
But I also like, we talked about pop music. I love pop music. I love things that are playing on the radio now. I think it's really impressive when somebody can make a song that survives on pop radio.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really impressive feat to me. But I like silly music. I like silly movies. I like silly comics. And I like silly music. Black Bear is one of my favorite like pop artists for the last couple of years, because he makes really just silly like R&B, rap, pop songs. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty eclectic. I've been the last couple months getting back into rock and been getting back into metal. And rekindling my 13-year-old love for those genres. But yeah, I listen to just about everything. I've been to all kind of shows. And depending on the day, depending on my mood, I'll listen to whatever. And hopefully I have at least a somewhat educated opinion on all of those genres that I claim to love.
Yeah. Very cool. No, yeah, that's awesome. Mike, that's so cool that you bring up Jim Croce. Like that's an artist that up until like a few years ago, I was under the impression that like no one listened to him. So it's really cool to like hear that name. That it's like, wow, someone I've listened to my entire life is someone else like has that same experience.
Danny, you ready? I'm gonna blow your mind. Maybe when all of this is over, we can go check it out. He's buried in Media.
Is he really?
Yep, he is, and I've never been to his grave. I'm a huge fan of his work. Like I'm a huge fan, but I'm not a fan to the point where like I would ever visit somebody's gravesite.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's buried in Media.
Wow, what a morbid field trip we can take.
Yeah, we could do a follow-up field trip to Jim Croce's grave and grab a couple drinks.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that wild? He's literally buried like 15 minutes from our house.
I didn't know that he was so close.
Yeah,
like, physically.
Yeah, on some level.
Yeah. There was one thing, Nate, that you said that was for some reason I've never even thought of as like a I don't know. I guess I've never just thought of it in general, like the fact that someone can write a song that has staying power and that has the ability of lasting a long time on pop radio. It's such an interesting thing to think about, like, because you have one person with an idea and then that person might give it to another person, or they write it themselves or whatever, and then that idea connects with so many other people. But it's just a different idea to think about how long that can stay relevant, especially in such a huge media like the radio. So I thought that was
and it's probably not long, speaking in terms of like pop radio or pop hits.
or
Um,
the public
and
the public eye.
yeah, yeah, and I think you're right. There's such a collaboration in pop music that I think a lot of people are turned off by. That you've got people that write songs for people that then sing them, and there's like a an inauthenticity to I like artists that write their own music. Everyone does.
Yeah.
Because it seems more authentic. But there's something about the weird like song by committee thing when it works.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really weird and special. I think about like Boyfriend by Justin Bieber is a song that I don't particularly like. I enjoy it. I think it's an okay song. I actually heard it on a TV show that I started watching earlier this week, and I was like, oh, this is kind of the jam. But that was written by, at least in part, by Mike Posner and Black Bear for Justin Bieber. Yeah. And I'm like, the fact that these guys can come together and create this song that I'm sure some people just fucking hate, but played on radio for a long time and is still, like I said, I heard on a TV show, a newer TV show that I started watching earlier this week. Like that's kind of weird and special in its own way. The fact that you can kind of crack into something that like a lot of people are appealed to.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of cool. And that's not the kind of artistry that I'm typically drawn to, but I think it's something that that we can learn from. Like anybody as an artist in any field, as a writer, artist, songwriter, musician, anything, like you can learn something from that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And you can obviously speak more to that as a musician. But there's something that, and I'm not super worried in comics and illustrations with appealing to everyone. I know I'm going to turn some people off by things that I draw, but it would be neat to have something that people could just agree, like generally the public could agree, this is good enough. We can enjoy this. We like this, That's kind of special, and I do think really hard to do. And the fact that whether it's The Weeknd or Dua Lipa, Billie Eilish. Oh my God, Billie Eilish.
Oh, Billie Eilish.
People love her.
She's
incredible.
The
fact that anybody can do that, is incredible.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. I love that. So many cool ideas from creative people. I love it. Like
Yeah, that's honestly like one of the best parts of having this podcast is just getting to hang out with other people who are creatively minded,
Mm-hmm.
Just being able to like talk about even just music in this regard. Like we're talking about music right now, which is typically nothing we cover on this show. It's awesome.
Which is odd. Music is a huge part of like my creative process.
Same.
And so it's odd that we don't, and we've talked about it before. It's odd that we don't cover it more. I make playlists usually for like books that I work on. One that I've been listening to now is like Music to Draw. I made a playlist that's called Music to Draw Western Comics to. And my bread and butter for the last year or two has been Western comics. And it's got some great songs, American Gothic songs, classic country songs. It's got a lot of Marty Robbins. But yeah, that's always been a huge part of my creativity. And like I said, Mike, I know we've talked about this before. It's weird that we haven't talked about it on this show, I think. Because it's all about setting like a mindset. I know artists that listen to movie scores when they're creating.
Yeah.
And that's special to like get you in like the mindset. Like music is so powerful in that way that it can change the way you're thinking about something. In a way that I don't think I watch a lot of movies and TV while I work, and they never really like change my mood the way if I'm listening to a playlist or an album or whatever. like those things affect me very deeply, and you can see it in the work on the drawing board the way you can't if it's movies, TV, if I'm drawing in silence, whatever, you know. That's odd a little bit. Music is weird, man.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's the background of it's the background of everyday life, and that's the kind of the thing that's amazing about it, is just because everyone doesn't take it as seriously as they should, just because you are experiencing it every single day, like in TV,
Yeah, yeah,
movies, even just like obviously radio, you're listening to music, but it's such a um a stationary part of everyday life. It's just like it's not going anywhere, and having
yeah,
that
yeah.
as like a part of the creative process is so important, I think.
So, what are Danny? What are your biggest influences?
Oh,
Classic music wise, modern music. What are your what are
so
the people you look to for inspiration?
so the my big three, I call them my big three, are obviously start with Dave Grohl. I love Dave Grohl.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah.
Secondly is Josh Homme. I don't know if you know who Josh Homme is, from Queens of the Stone
No.
Age and Caius.
Oh,
And
Queens of the Stone Age. I
yeah,
do. I love Queens of the Stone Age. Yeah.
Queens of the Stone Age is one of my favorite bands of all time. They are
Yes.
absolutely just
Absolutely.
fucking incredible. The lineup changes that have occurred in that band, and just the fact that they've stayed so consistent is awesome.
Yeah.
And my third is Tom Morello, the guitarist from Rage Against the Machine.
Yes.
Um,
Yes,
just
sir.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
just absolutely politically minded, musically minded, socially minded, one of the most incredible humans I think out there. Just
Yeah. No
just
wonder I'm a fan of yours.
yeah.
You just listed your top 3 influences, and I was like, goddamn right on every single one of them.
Oh, dude, awesome. Great. I love it.
Yeah, man.
No, yeah,
No
I mean,
idea. Yeah.
so like those big three, like those are like my biggest influences in my own being, in my own lifetime. Um Earlier stuff, I guess, like a lot of the early rock stuff. I love the Who. I I love CCR, Creedence
Yeah,
Clearwater
man.
Revival.
Hmm.
Um
Yes.
yeah. The, who else is around there? Fucking Rush. I love Rush.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a lot of see a lot of the modern rock stuff that I listen to, like it's all sort of like emo type stuff. Like I love
Oh,
band.
really?
Yeah, I love Tiny Moving Parts. I don't know if you guys know who they are.
Mm.
Not
Band
that I
out
know of.
of Benton, Minnesota. They are awesome. Like very math rocky, very technical tapping kind of stuff. But still emo in its own right. Um, Modern Baseball, Mike, you probably know, they're Philly area guys.
Oh, really?
Um,
I'd never heard of them.
yeah, oh, they're awesome. Unfortunately they're not a band anymore, but those guys were huge for me. And then I love a lot of R&B type of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I've actually been finding a lot of like kind of not underground artists, but a lot of artists that are just kind of like advertising their stuff to like put it out there, because they're just either putting out new stuff and they're not that big, or they're just starting out. There's, if I can give you like, I guess 2 or 3 um, like recommendations. There's one guy's name is Eric Kane. Um, he is fantastic. ErikCain, I believe. He's great. He's more of like a rap R&B. And then a guy named Cautious Clay. He's fantastic. Um, and then there's another group that I really love. They have a song called the group is called the Spins. They have a song called Shotgun. It's more um kind of like new age indie emo type of stuff, but
Love
those
it.
those are more of the modern influences that I'm taking from.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
very cool. Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Would
sorry,
you?
I took a little bit of a deep dive, but that's just like a lot of the stuff that's been going into my
That's all we do on this show is do deep dives.
Yeah, usually it's comics, but like to have you on to like throw out some
Yeah.
music names, like even like you said, like Modern Baseball. I've never heard of that band before, but I'm gonna have to check them out like immediately after recording
do.
the episode.
They're awesome.
Yeah, and if anything, I think this conversation right now is warranting a sequel follow up with Danny coming back to talk about music
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
in the creative process, and
Yeah.
maybe we could do something fun. We'll spitball it right here of like matching albums to, or like creating like a 5-song album per like a certain character. Just spitballing it. Might
That'd
be
be
a fun
fun.
idea.
Really cool.
Just
Absolutely.
saying. Because yeah, I'm with Nate.
As
like,
long as Johnny's not involved, that sounds really good. I told him I was gonna talk shit about him, so I gotta talk shit about him.
yeah, it's only fair. He's not here. Todd gets a pass though. Love you, Todd.
Todd gets a pass because Todd's just fucking cool. Johnny's not cool. Todd's really cool. Johnny sucks.
Johnny's trying to look
can
real
talk
hot
about
in his 90s heartthrob outfits. That's all I'm saying.
He throws the flannel on and he messes the hair up, and
Yeah.
you know,
He tries to be
Todd-
all brooding and cool.
Todd doesn't do any of that. You know,
Yeah.
Johnny's trying to look all cool and hot, and we see right through you, Johnny. We see right through you.
We see you, man. Well, here, what we can
Love you, buddy.
yeah, love you, Johnny. We can start wrapping up. We can hop over to Nate's real quick to check out how your piece came out throughout the
for
episode.
Sure. Let me switch my camera back. Yeah, I think we're doing pretty good. I threw a lot of white paint on it on this part. I don't know if you probably people can't even really tell. I did a lot though. Mostly just like I threw like a little splatter around the edge to kind of give like a little bit of like uneasy water feeling. I don't know if that's really the move because it's rippling, so it's probably pretty calm waters. But I'm still really happy with this drawing. I think at the very least this is a rough sketch that I would be proud to show off on Instagram, if nothing else. So yeah, we're pretty good over here.
It's awesome, man. I think it came out great.
That's really cool.
Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. This was one of the rare episodes. The last few episodes, I've really been proud of the fact that I knew exactly what I was gonna do for the episode, and it came out at least within the threshold of acceptability. This one, I had none of that. So I'm glad that I got a drawing this good from this one. But yeah, I think it's pretty good.
It's okay.
Danny could do better.
No, I'm sure he could. I'm sure he could. I'm sure he
Got
could.
something up on this napkin right next to me. Oh.
Yeah. Do that.
Yeah, no, Nate, it's awesome, and I think your brush work and texturing works really well with water, and I think it comes across really well in the ripples of the water where her foot is touching it. I think it looks great, man.
Yeah, I tried to do like a little bit of storytelling with this one. Where like this character is, kind of getting into this world with these violent sea monsters, and so it's kind of scary. She's looking down at the water, and maybe she knows what's there, and that's why she's only touching her foot in the water. Maybe she doesn't know what's there, and you as a viewer who do know is scared for her because there's these scary like creature from the Black Lagoon monsters that are gonna get her. I think conceptually the drawing's there where, an execution it might not be, but conceptually it's pretty strong.
Yeah, no, man, I dig it. I think it's absolutely stellar. It's awesome.
No, thank you. Yeah.
Here, we'll hop around real quick. We'll check out how far I got in my issue 2 cover for Oh, why aren't you going to the cover? Technical difficulties here, people.
We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited. There we
go.
Oh yeah, you added the figure falling in.
Yeah.
Good.
So, throughout the second part here, I added Travis falling and cascading. I think it might be a little bit too big. So the character of Bug-Eye is kind of shorter. If I pull out his model sheet a little bit, I had intended him to be played by a Elijah Wood type.
Oh, okay.
Oh, very cool.
So kind of like shorter, a little bit more slender in build. And Travis, on the other hand, is like a very tall, slender figure, more in line with a basketball player. So I think the scaling works, but it might be a little bit too off. So after I ink it, when I take it into the digital phase, I might shrink Travis a little bit, give him a little more space against Bug-Eye here. But yeah, all in all, I knew what I wanted to do compositionally for this cover. So the title, Ultramax, is going to go across here. Our bylines are down here in the corner. But yeah, I'm really excited to noodle in. As I've said before, I enjoy little non-descriptive detail work. So like the bugs cascading from this black silhouette is going to be so much fun to do, and I'm quite excited for it. But yeah, as a whole, I'm pretty proud of how these pencils came out, especially considering that I didn't have a thumbnail with me.
Really cool.
Well, hey
yeah,
guys,
it's fun to watch you do like real work on the show as opposed to me. I'm just drawing just bullshit. You're doing real stuff. That's cool.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's probably not the best move to do professional work with alcohol in my system, but we did it, and it came out okay. It came out passable.
Oh, do you not usually do that?
No, caffeine usually. Not.
Oh, okay.
Not
another drug.
Not a lot of other.
I'm gonna have to talk to some people that I've worked with and tell them that I've been messing up.
Hey guys, I didn't realize this was not like a cool thing to do at the workplace.
I've got years of emails to send.
Oh, I was supposed to be replying to those? I thought they were just for my information. That's my fault.
Shit.
Well, that's no wonder I've been fired from 4 jobs.
Damn it, I thought I was doing a good job.
It's all adding up now. Well, hey guys, that just about wraps up the video. Thank you so much for tuning in to Ink, Drink, Think, episode 12. I know this was an unorthodox episode, but hopefully you enjoyed this more casual hangout between myself, my co-host, and loyal friend, Nate Wells. The only other co-host I'll ever trust.
The only good one from the regular guys. Only good one.
I'm going to introduce you from now on as the only good one, Nate Wells.
Thank you.
And of course, guys,
because it's the truth.
And of course, guys, big thanks to our special guest this evening, Danny Walsh. Danny, thank you so much for not only enlightening us on some of your musical inputs, your comic and TV and movie preferences and opinions, but also thank you so much for providing one of the most kick-ass intro and outro songs to a podcast of all time.
Come on now.
It's one of the few things we can really hype up is that we have excellent music opening and closing the show, and that's all thanks to you, man. So
hey, man,
right
I
on.
man. That's still one of the most kick-ass songs I've ever written. So, thank you guys for even expressing interest that you wanted it on the show. So that's awesome.
Yeah, man. Well, I know Nate and I are huge fans, and hopefully you watching will become one. So please go check out the description below. You can find links to Danny's Instagram accounts and even the Destroy the Moon Instagram account. He's also part of the band Moonroof. Please check out everything Moonroof related, not just Destroy the Moon. And of course, in the description below, you can find the official Instagram links for myself, Nate, Johnny, and Todd, and the Ink Drink Think Instagram page where you can find the finalized artwork from this episode and all of our previous episodes. Check out the comments below, guys. Tell us, after you've checked them both out, what your favorite songs are from both Moonroof and Destroy the Moon. And be sure to tune in for episode 13. Thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you guys next time.